Hey guys, Fields here. Today we're going to be looking at the portfolio for the last week. To start off, we always look at the stock market and how it performed. So you can see here that overall, I'd say it's pretty red across many sectors. But there was a lot of notable big hitters last week, which did pump up some S&P quite a lot, and more specifically the semiconductor um, sector you can see here is crazy green. You can see AMD is up 24%, Intel's up 20%, Texas Instruments up 20%, just to give you an idea. So that's pretty crazy. If you look at like a 3x ETF version, or if we can even look at just stocks here actually for the last week, you can see it's up 11%. So that makes this Soxel 35% up, which is pretty crazy. I think we are currently on the 18th consecutive green day for semiconductors. The RSI is pretty high. We could probably take a look at that later in the video, but yeah, moving on. You can see that for the week, S&P squeezed out 0.54. Our portfolio squeezed out 3.75 total. But on Composer, we had 7.57. On M1 Finance, we had 0.5. So just under SPY. And then on Webull, we had negative 6.46%. But doing very good. We're about to end off April. We only have a few more days left there. So that will kind of secure that, that hopefully there's no insane pullback. Although I do think there might be something happening tomorrow, and again we'll get later into that later. But yeah, overall really good. So we still have about a month to go, nearly a month, maybe 3 weeks left until it's been a full year since I've been tracking on this specific spreadsheet. And yeah, so far we're up 27%. S&P's up about 19%. So that's pretty awesome. We did also hit 60K, which is crazy because I feel like I made a video like 1 or 2 weeks ago going over that we had 60K or 50K. I'm sorry. In fact, I can look here. I think it was on the second here. We had a 50K after we took some of the wins out from M1 Finance and put them back in. So 50K happened on the second, so just under a month, and we are already up another 10K, which is kind of crazy. We've had a really good amount of growth in the last month. To be fair, you can take a look here. 30 days, SPY's up 10%. Our total portfolio is up 16, but Composer's up 25%. This is what I've been trying to like preach. Finally, it's coming around. We had a rough few months, I will say, from October up until April. We were hurting quite a lot on this, just because some of the indicators that we use weren't really working, right? As you can see, if I look at the 6-month performance here, we were underperforming it really until April. And that's when we shot up like crazy, especially in the last 2 weeks. Right, we all know in the last 2 weeks the S&P has been really just doing amazing in general, but you combine that with well-timed leverage, and you can really perform well. So, but yeah, while we're in here, so last on Friday we went up 3.5% nearly, and so right now we're sitting fully in VXX. Now, I am a little worried looking at VIX futures right now. You can see here, VIX futures are showing, oh, that's not VIX futures, right here. It's about 1% down. So this, in theory, if it were to trade the same way until close tomorrow, we would basically see this on our portfolio in Composer. Whether or not that's actually going to pan out, I don't really know. But you can see here how it's been doing. Again, reminder that the blue is the I got to change some of the stuff around because our strategies changed a little bit. But in short, this means we are, well, I'll show you the logic here actually. So you can see here, if we are above the 200-day moving average, and if the RSI is in overbought territory, then we hit this. You can see here on TQQQ, the current 10-day RSI is at nearly 80. It's been flip-flopping quite a lot. You can see it stopped here at 75, stopped here at 74. It's been flip-flopping almost every day, and obviously a large part of that is because every single day we've risen quite a lot. And the days that we haven't has basically pulled that back. But once we start to get some kind of stability here is when that RSI is going to start dropping, because the average is going to, become lower and lower. And what's going to allow that, well, we'll be out of volatility products. That's the whole idea here, is that we're basically trying to hedge our bets, not saying, hey, we're expecting a red day and go into something like shorting the cues, but more of like a safer bet where it's saying, okay, something probably happened to cause us to go into overbought territory. We should probably try to hedge our bets, kind of thing. So it's worked out pretty well. I will say it's not a guaranteed victory by any means to be a winning trade. But yeah, it's pulled off a decent amount. Usually, I would say we usually end, around here, right? So either down about 1% or up 1%. There was, I think, on Thursday where we could have gone to cash. That's a new feature on Composer. If you go here, go to cash, where basically it sells out of your positions at that current time and then goes and rebuys them at close. Because we already trade daily, there's no benefit of holding it and saying, oh, well, it's a taxable event, because really almost every day on this, on a lot of these strategies is a taxable event. So because we have this daily trade setting on, right? I don't know if they show right here, trade setting daily yet. So, but it actually ended up going down, and I think barely being positive for the day. So, in fact, I can probably pull that up here. Yeah, I think this was the day. No, sorry. It might have been Tuesday. It could have been this day, but either one of those days, it was up around 3.5%. And I could have gone to cash, but at the same time, it's just one of those things where at the very same time, that could have jumped another 5%, right? We just never know. So I'm trying to be less in it, and kind of just let the strategy do its thing. Because there was a day where it went up like, I think it might have been this day, it went up like 14%, 15% or something crazy. And I got out early. I'm very happy with that, just to be clear, because in my eyes, it's all about the downside potential, right? So if we were up 11%, which is a very like irregular day for the portfolio, and we lost all of it, or if it even went negative, for example, I would have been very upset. With this is only 3.5%. That's something that we do see pretty frequently. And so, yeah. But moving on into M1 Finance. So to start off, I'll just look at the activity tab here. Since last week, we actually haven't had any dividends. There's nothing to report there. Let me go on over to each sector to kind of show you guys. So obviously I said our sector performance right now is kind of insane. And because we haven't done rebalancing right now, you can see that it's actually at 18% where it's supposed to be at 12. It's kind of funny. But that's not a bad sign. That just means that this is like super strong. Again, as a reminder, I'm hoping to sell out most of these positive positions nearing probably May 20th. We will see. Time will tell. But anyways, going into this, you can see the highest performer on our side was AMD at 24, almost 25%. The other two were really good as well. And then the next best one was here. Big growth from Amazon, and unfortunately not so good on Home Depot. I should also mention there's a lot of earnings happening this week. There happened to be a lot last week as well. A lot of them happening this week, and so that's something that is probably going to make or break the market kind of thing. I wouldn't be surprised if we see, a bad earning that just kind of pulls back the market. Although I do actually feel kind of good going into this earnings season. I don't know why. It feels a little bit different. A lot of the companies that have already published their earnings have shown a lot of growth. So, anyways, Google, best performer here. On the opposite side of things, industrials down quite a lot. You can see RTX down 11%. Very glad that this is a small percentage of our portfolio, but unfortunate at the very least. Then we have healthcare. Biggest loser there was from Eli Lilly. I think that's kind of like I think AbbVie has a earnings uh, soon, so we'll see how that does. Then here as well on real estate, biggest loser there. Ooh, realty income. So go into the holdings section. You can see here we're up 166% on AMD, which is it's just like kind of unthinkable to me. Part of me in my head is saying, "Oh, we should sell this like today," because as soon as semiconductors start to fall down, we're gonna have quite a lot of pain on that side. So I don't know. Probably won't, just because again I want to hopefully get that long-term capital gains, but we'll see. So you'd see this pretty well. NVIDIA slowly started to make its way back up. And there's some other ones here. Unfortunately, not so hot on a few of these. So Microsoft actually has started, of course, dig itself out of that hole that it was in. I think it was down like 12 or 16% in our portfolio, so quite a lot. But now we're only down 4.5%, so I'm super happy about that. AbbVie went down. This was up a little bit. And again, hopefully they perform really well on the earnings. Although healthcare companies, pharmaceutical companies, it's really, really, really a coin toss. Because they just work very differently to a lot of companies. Obviously, for example, if some clinical trial came out or something, and the FTC is like, no, then it kind of destroys the whole company. But this is more of an established company, to be fair. But that's generally how healthcare companies are complex. So I try not to even look into many of like a lot of them. They're not a huge percent of my portfolio, but anyways, AMT down. They also have earnings this week, and same with Mastercard and Visa. Really hoping, and no, I think Procter & Gamble just had earnings on like Thursday or Friday. I think maybe they have it on this Friday. I can't remember. Anyhow, a lot of earnings. A lot of the bottom ones that we have here are waiting on earnings, and maybe that's why they've gone down recently. Some of these have been down for quite a while, though, to be fair. So we'll see really how this performs this next coming week. Last but not least, MSTZ, man, this thing's crazy. You can see on the portfolio graph, it is all over the place. We did have that chance where just for one day, touched, and then that's crazy to think that the next day it went down $600. That's I couldn't even have had time to sell then. That's just crazy. I didn't even know it was that bad. But anyways, Monday almost 5% down. Tuesday almost 7.5% up. Then 20% down. Then 7 up. Then 1.7 down or up. I'm sorry. So you can see the big red number there. We're still down $1,000 on this. I'm still keeping this, in my thing. There is the option to theoretically, we could sell this at a loss on purpose to offset the taxes for next year. But Man, I don't know, man. To me, if this was like a larger percent of the portfolio, I would consider it, and if I had more income, like from my job. But for me, it's like I'm thinking, if there's a chance that MSDR happens to just go under, or some catastrophic news happens, you know, maybe something down the line in a few years, like maybe the next presidency says something like, "Oh, we're banning anything with Bitcoin or something," right? And this just tanks MSTR, then I can make a lot of money, right? I think I have 40, I want to say I have 46 shares currently. They haven't had another split quite yet. But they are getting close. I think if they go under 5, they're kind of forced to split. So we'll have to see there. But that is it for me, guys. And yeah, as always, I wish you guys a wealthy future.